It is that time for Mr. Tat. It is that time for Mr. Tat. That is my response to a tweet. My response to a tweet. And today's tweet is very 4 words. It says, Phil, why the Constitution? Wow, why the Constitution? You know, the so-called struggling comedian in me wants to say, why not? But I'm going to try to do this the best I can. See, the thing is this. You have to look at history. You have to understand why did our forefathers leave England the way that they did. They were human beings that were under the thumb and the rule of man. And there was something inside of them. And first, I'm not trying to claim to be some kind of constitutional scholar or nothing like that. I'm just going to share with you my point of view. Is they were some people that were under the oppression and the thumb of the rulers in England. They were feeling something about them. I'm trying not to sound all religious, but I would like to say the Holy Spirit or something like that. But there was something about it that they didn't like. They had thoughts and they had ideas, and those ideas and thoughts were stifled by their rulers. And so instead of creating some kind of mutiny inside of England, they just figured and they talked, and I'm simplifying this a lot, but they talked to each other and other people had that same feeling, and then they got on a boat and they left. They left. Because there was something that wasn't right in their spirit. And they felt like they knew what was best for them when these other people thought that they knew what was best. And there was no freedom to express that thought. There was no freedom to implement those ideas. So they left. They came over here. They found this land. Yes, there were people that occupied this land when they came here. Nobody will dispute that. But it still didn't deter them from their ideas and their thoughts. And they just thought that they could make a better life for themselves and they could do far better for themselves and create an environment to where every God-breathing creature can do better for themselves. But they still need to have some kind of rules. So they come together and they create this document called the Constitution. And now they want to implement this thing, and probably in the process of implementing it, I'm going to paraphrase this, probably in the process of talking about something, they still had residue of England on them. And the guy went to say, well, what about this idea? And they probably had residue of England probably said, hey man, shut up. Nobody wants to hear that. And then they said, no. That's how they did it over there. We're not going to do that here with this new way of living. But this said this, and then we said, well, that's not good. Let's amend that. Matter of fact, this is going to be our first amendment. You're going to be able to speak your mind. Nobody's going to be able to just tell you to shut up. You have the right to say and feel. You have the right to say it. And so our First Amendment, because I'm not seeing where this is going, we still have residue of kings and monarchs and family rule and stuff. So we're going to fix this stuff right here in the beginning. So our First Amendment is free speech. Because we didn't have that over there. But we're going to have that here. And they're going to be able to freely speak as long as their speech still has an essence of responsibility. You're not going to be able to yell fire in a crowded barn. You're not going to be able to do that. And you say you have the right to say what you want to say. No, it's still going to have some parameters, but mainly you're going to be able to speak your piece and nobody's not going to be able to just tell you to shut up. And then, of course, we know our Second Amendment. We're not going to go through all these amendments right here on Mr. Tapp, but then there's something that happened that said no, because over there they said you couldn't bear arms. The only people that can have weaponry was the rulers. So no, we're going to have the right to bear arms, and this is going to be our Second Amendment. This is speech is first, and that's important. Don't forget now the ingredients on your recipes, the ingredients on anything that you eat. The thing that's in there the most is the thing that they put first. The thing in our Constitution that was most important is what went first, and so on and so forth. And so the Second Amendment was very, very important. That's why it was second. After you have the right to speak and speak freely, and nobody can stifle your speech unless you're being extremely irresponsible, no one in this government, in this new land, in this new rule of law, is going to be able to keep you from protecting yourself. Not only from intruders, but from your own government, so that if they ever get tyrannical or get monarchical, well, I'm making up words, but if they ever get like how it was in England, you'll be able to defend yourself. And then your Third Amendment, your Fourth Amendment, your Fifth Amendment, and then so basically these are ways for them to create freedom with responsibility. You're free to do what it is that you want, self-determination, endowed by your creator, and things of this nature, but you still have to peacefully coexist with others that might have an idea, that might be inspired. But no one man or one family will be able to rule over all these men and women and their families. But we do have to have a rule of law so that we can peacefully coexist with each other. And when these laws are violated, then we need to have some kind of repercussion when you wrong your fellow man and this and that. And then now here we are. So why the Constitution? Because it was that idea that came from not being able to have an idea, express your idea, implement your idea, and potentially prosper off your idea. And it's something that allows you to share your idea with others. And if they like the idea, they can roll with you. And if they don't like the idea, they cannot roll with you. So they have the freedom to participate in your idea, and they have the freedom not to participate in your idea. And this document will keep you, and these amendments will keep you from making somebody participate in your idea and them making you participate in their idea. Now, what's going wrong here with probably the person that's asking this question is because just like any good idea, there's somebody there to stifle it. That stifling force came from the thing that we left from, a European model of control, of monarchy, of a bunch of people to say, we know what's best for you and make you live up underneath them. That thing is called liberalism. Liberalism is that thing that's a thing we were escaping from. And just like a slave on a plantation, when you escape from the plantation and the plantation doesn't seem like it has enough people under its thumb, it wants to get you back. Liberalism is that plantation that wants to get us back to a European model of monarchies and family rule, and you don't know what's good for you. We know what's best. You have to work it this way. Socialism comes into there, then everybody should be equal. The rich shouldn't be too rich, and this and that and the third. But it's a tainting of God that is not good for people. It might be good for a certain sect, but it's not good for people as a whole. And so what happened is liberalism came over here to America, infiltrated this experiment called America, and now it's trying to use our freedoms to get us back in slavery. So why the Constitution? Is more so, why not the Constitution?